Hey guys, today we are talking about Christmas in the Highlands. I could not believe how bad this was. If you're new here, my name is Alanna and I'm going to be reviewing as many Hallmark movies as humanly possible. Why? Literally no one asked for this. We start off in New York City with an obscene amount of royalty-free music, B-shots of decorations and Christmas trees, and it all looks like 2008 somebody shot and uploaded to Facebook, but no, this was 2019. Anyway, we meet our girl. Now, with all these reviews, I refer to the protagonist as our girl. Her name is irrelevant and honestly don't remember what it is. So we meet her at work in New York City in this like open plan office, and she's rushing around. There's some sort of meeting. And the audio, we have to talk about the audio. I've watched a lot of Hallmarks. I love and hate them. That's how this channel came about. The audio in this film, what do you even say? Total echo. I don't think they had a boom. This is a full-scale film production, and I really, truly, honestly do not think they had a boom guy to help with the audio. Have a listen to this scene.
Is that ready for me? Can you slow down? So, who's I'm meeting with? It's Ferdy, dragon lady.
Yeah. Second thoughts. Coffee courage.
What a great start. So our girl goes into this meeting and she's getting yelled at by the boss, and we learn that she's a sales manager for a perfume company, but she wants to be a perfume maker. And the sales this quarter or whatever have been really bad and everybody's angry. After the meeting outside, she's on the street, she drops her purse because it's such a horrible day, and she drops her purse. And there's like a street Santa and they have this little exchange. She's quite shitty to him. He's like, what do you want for Christmas? Believe in the Christmas spirit and the miracles of Christmas and whatever. And she's not having it. Honestly, the only thing I can notice in this scene is someone making this movie loves that magic royalty-free sound effect.
Certainty is a sure thing. You can't be sure of everything, even that your Christmas wish will not come true.
Well, Merry Christmas.
Back at her apartment, she gets a knock at the door. There's a gift on the floor. That would be concerning. However, in the Hallmark cinematic universe, letter bombs don't exist. So she has no fear. She picks up this random package. She takes it to her bed, of all places, and opens it up. And inside, there is a bottle of perfume called Heart of the Highlands from Scotland. There's no indication of who sent it, just this bottle of Scottish perfume. And here comes that magic royalty-free sound effects plus a bit of Scottish music this time. Now we cut to Scotland. In this castle, we meet this man, Alistair. He is complaining to his dog. He's annoyed that all of these women keep sending him letters about how they want to be with him. What a hard life. And respectfully, the worst Scottish accent.
The Blandford Ball. Why is everyone always trying to find me a woman? Don't they know that you're the only girl for me, Lucy? Oh, you're so beautiful.
You please. Have you seen the master's classes?
Oh, I'm sure that as usual, they're on top of his head. Tabby, would you see to these, please?
I googled it. He's Canadian. He's from Montreal, no less. R.I.P. I'm allowed to say that I'm Canadian. Now we meet Alistair's father and Alistair's father's friend. We're just gonna call her the mom. And here we get a little bit of an exposition dump. So they're talking about their respective kids, and the mother is upset because her daughter is Alistair's ex-partner, ex-girlfriend, whatever. And the mother really wants them to get back together because they were so good together. And Alistair's father's like, I thought she dumped Alistair to date somebody else. And the mother's like, oh no, nothing like that. It was a big miscommunication. So we're just getting this exposition that Alistair used to date this girl and she broke up with him, maybe, maybe not, but the mother really wants to get them back together. And this sets up our romantic rival. You'll love to see it. Back to New York City, our girl brings in this random Scottish perfume to her boss, the one with the crazy hair and the scary eyes, and the boss loves it. It smells so good. And the boss says, I want you to get the rights to this perfume so we can sell it in my stores in 2 weeks. And if our girl succeeds, she will be promoted away from sales, which she doesn't like, to being her own perfume maker, which is like her dream job. And here we have our stakes. So she runs home to pack. She's going to go to Scotland for a few days. Hopefully, if she offers them a ton of money, they will sell the formula to her and she can come back and sell this Heart of the Highlands perfume thing in the stores in New York City. We get some shots of her going to Scotland, and she finally arrives at this like B&B type place, and she gets in the shower. She's gonna have a hot shower after this long day of travel, and surprise, there's no hot water. Welcome to Scotland. So she goes downstairs to complain, and the first person she comes across is Alistair. Now we know that he's the castle love interest, royalty kind of guy, but she thinks that he works there, so she's complaining to him about the shower. She's complaining about everything. She is kind of a bitch. Gonna go ahead and say that now. So she's pretty shitty to him, and she ends up asking for his help anyway. She wants to go to this perfumery tomorrow to find, you know, this family that makes the perfume, and he explains how to get there. He also explains how to fix the shower, and then she's a bit shittier again and then stomps off. Love is in the air. We cut to the next day and she arrives at the perfumery. Perfumery, I've said that word so many times, I feel like it's not real. She arrives at the perfumery and surprised, it's closed. But she turns around and like a serial killer, that man is there again. He says they're closed for Christmas, but surprise, he has the keys, and we figure out that he is in fact the owner of this perfumery. Now this is totally not related. And this is no shade to this man, okay? This Canadian man. I love you. I love Canada. I think he's a short king at this point. We don't really see shots of the love interests, our girl and Alistair, together. However, in this sort of workshop area, they introduce each other and they shake each other's hands. And there's a split-second shot of them together. And let me tell you, I think we got a short king. Anyway, he explains Heart of the Highlands and like kind of how it came about and stuff, and how he mentions that you can only buy it in Scotland because it's supposed to be like reminiscent of your time here, and it's very personal, it's locally made in Scotland, so he wants it to be only available in Scotland. And she mentions that she was gifted a bottle of Heart of the Highlands, and she brings it out and she's like, I don't know who gave it to me, and it's just like, surprise, weird, how strange. It's kind of insinuated that the street Santa did this, but we will never know. So at this point he asks what she's doing in Scotland at Christmas time, like most people are with their families, and she's talking about like she's here for the wildlife. Honestly, this was one of the most awkward scenes I've ever seen in any Hallmark. It sounds like, and it is blocked like a high school play.
So, what brings you to Tillyfory? Certainly you didn't travel thousands of miles right before Christmas just to buy a bottle of perfume.
Certainty is a sure thing. You can't be sure of everything. Someone once told me that. But no, I'm here to check out the culture and the landscapes and wildlife. The otters. I hear this Eurasian sea otters are up here in Scotland.
So you're interested in that stuff?
Yeah, I like watching documentaries. Silly, I know.
No, that's not silly. Is that what you like to do with your free time? Watch films?
And then she lies again that she's actually here to film a documentary about the wildlife, but also about the perfumery, and he's very excited to be included. Honestly, he seems kind of like a loner, and we're gonna find out real soon that he is a mama's boy. So put a pin in that. We cut to that woman, the mom, the friend, and her daughter, which is Alistair's ex. We're just gonna call her the ex from this point on. Not much to say about this scene, but she does say mummy.
Exactly what I needed after an exhausting day's shopping. Such a lovely idea, Mummy.
That's a red flag. We also learned that the mom is gonna play matchmaker to try and get the ex, her daughter, back with Alistair. So she's come up with two plans. One, she's forged the girl's education. She's made up a fake degree to impress Alistair with her intelligence.
When Alistair sets eyes on you again, and furthermore, sees your university degree.
Degree? Where did you get that?
The interweb, of course.
And we also learn that there's this big Christmas ball and a local bakery always makes a gingerbread house. So she's going to sabotage that gingerbread house and she's having a fancy one flown in from London, but like pretending that the daughter did it. It's kind of insinuated the idea is Alistair's very wealthy, so she wants them to get together for the money and the power. And by faking her education and this gingerbread house, it's showing like the daughter's very like domestic but intelligent. Does that make sense? It doesn't need to. Literally none of this makes sense. We cut back to our girl who's buying a camera to pretend to do this documentary, remember? Love a romance built on lies. So Alistair takes her out to the fields and she's pretending to film and he's explaining where like some of the ingredients come from and how they're like naturally like collected and processed and whatever. And she tries to get him to explain the secret ingredient, but he doesn't fall for it. He's a short king, but he's not stupid. But he does explain his mom made the fragrance, the Heart of the Highlands. And here again lies maybe we got some mommy issues here, which we're gonna explore soon. I love it. But he gets a call, there's an emergency, so they rush over to the bakery. So we find out that Alistair's like cherished baker who makes the gingerbread house every year for this Christmas ball thing or whatever rich people do. The gingerbread house has collapsed. Now we know that it was the scheming mother who did it, but at this point they just think, oh, it fell apart. And Alistair is pissed. Like, girl, this is such a red flag. The baker even says like, I can make you something smaller. I don't have time to make a big thing again, but I could make you something smaller. And he says this.
No, I'll make it myself.
Yikes! Alistair drops off our girl back at the Airbnb and the owner guy, manager, dude, whatever, comes out and he's like, we have no power. I'm really sorry. We're trying to find other accommodations for everyone because you can't stay here. So of course, right? Of course, no rooms at the inn kind of situation. Alistair says, come stay with me. And after a little bit back and forth, she says, sure. And we open to reveal a fucking castle. There's one scene that really made me laugh that has such an obvious commercial cut. You know when you watch movies sometimes and it like fades to black and it's very obvious like a commercial would be slotted in that point? We get one of those.
Are you a prince?
No, just an earl.
I just love it. Now there is one character in here that I would consider the MVP. She's the best. I love her. And it's this little maid woman. We meet her here at the castle. She just seems like she's having a great time. And she seems genuinely lovely.
My dear, you let me know if I can get you anything at all. It's awfully nice to have some female company for a change. I must admit.
We also meet Alistair's brother at the castle. I'm pretty sure this man is actually Scottish. He's got a much more convincing voice and he looks pretty Scottish too, to be fair. So we learn about the brother. He's like a big city kind of guy. We don't know what city, Edinburgh maybe, it doesn't matter. But he's like a big city guy and he wants to sell part of the estate, sell like the perfumery side and build like a golf course or something more modern. Then they all meet for dinner and we get a little bit of kilt action just in case you forgot. This is supposed to be Scotland. Now these scenes are shot in some kind of manner. I don't know if it's the same building that we get the exterior shots. Like the exterior is a beautiful castle manor thing. I don't know if the interior is the same building, but it is really nice. And it kind of got me thinking like maybe all of the budget went into shooting these interior shots that they couldn't afford a boom guy. Because my God, the audio throughout this thing is atrocious. Anywho, the mother and the ex-girlfriend arrive. They're all nicely dressed up and they're pissed because who's this woman here? Everybody toasts to the ex's new degree, like, okay, sure, and then blah, 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 a bunch of useless chatter. One thing to point out from this scene that I noticed, the ex's lipstick, something ain't right there. and I guess they didn't have money or time to do a reshoot. After dinner, the mother and the ex are trying to scheme about like how to get our girl back to New York City, right? How to get her out of the picture so she can get back with Alistair. And they Google her name and they find her LinkedIn. The plot thickens. Meanwhile, our girl finds Alistair in the kitchen making the gingerbread house, but he doesn't know what he's doing. So she steps in and she grabs his laptop and she brings up her mom's YouTube channel, like her mom's YouTube video about how to make a gingerbread house. This is just a personal thing. If someone comes in and just grabs my laptop, someone that I don't know, someone just grabs my laptop and starts typing, I will see red. We are about to witness a murder. Also, side note, the mom's blind. First time hearing of it. Also, the chemistry in this scene is rough. The chemistry in this entire movie, so not only is the quality, like the production, really bad for 2019, the chemistry between these two is painful.
Kirsten and I went out several years ago until she dumped me.
She dumped you.
Oh yes, for a bigger, better deal with a yacht.
Well, I find that hard to believe.
Which part? That Kirsten and I dated, or that there's someone better?
It's a new day and our girl is filming Alistair and he's explaining the formula again and like kind of what's in it, but not letting the secret slip. But he does mention that his mom created it. And he talks about how happy she was the day she made the formula and she wore it every day until the day she died. Love a boy with mommy issues. Then they're out getting a Christmas tree for this Christmas ball. And I gotta tell you, they all look like shit. We get some exposition here about how she hates Christmas, but he loves Christmas, which is a common trope in Hallmark movies. And she's saying like, it's so commercialized and whatever. And while they're talking about this, walking around this warehouse, somebody coughs.
I'm a small cog in a big wheel, and it's...
I just couldn't. I actually rewound it. It is so loud and echoey and just awful.
And it's...
Like, sir, can you just hold it in?
And it's...
Anywho, after this, we get our first like Christmas music montage and they're like out tasting chocolates for some reason. I think it's for the ball, but it doesn't really matter. Back at the castle, Alistair takes her to this really spooky like outbuilding. Like, honey, this is where you run. We open to reveal this like workshop room, but honestly, all I could see were piss bottles. Bottles full of piss. Just a man with many piss bottles. We learn that this is the mom's workshop and he hasn't been in it in 10 years. Can you imagine the decay in this room? There would be badgers at the very least. I was gonna say raccoons, but you don't get raccoons in Scotland. Badgers, maybe some rats, to be honest. Like, something's living in there. He's feeling a bit flirty and he does explain the like secret ingredient to this formula. The chemistry again in this scene is hard to watch. He's really trying and she is weird. And I think her character is supposed to kind of be a bit quirky and stuff, but the chemistry is just painful. So after revealing the family secret, Alistair gets a call from his dad to be back at the castle. So Alistair leaves and we get our next music montage literally like 60 seconds after the first one. And it's basically the girl smelling all of the piss bottles and taking notes. And she actually she steals one of his vials and steals some of the oil and mixes her own fragrance and then leaves, but forgets to take her notes. Outside of the piss shack, she calls her friend back in New York City, like a coworker or whatever, and she basically explains like, she's figured out the secret formula, but she doesn't want to steal it. Like, she could leave now, go back to New York, they could reproduce it, but she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to steal the formula. So she's like, I'm just gonna have to tell the boss, like, I can't do it. And we purposely get a scene of her going back to the piss shack and looking for her notes, and they are definitely not there anymore. So someone has stolen her piss notes. That's probably only funny to me, but honestly, these bottles, I just couldn't. Inside, our girl gives Alistair this like wreath as like a thank you for, you know, all of his time and effort for the last couple days or whatever. And all I could think is like, where the fuck did she get this? They've basically been together this entire time. They're in the middle of nowhere. She didn't just like walk to a store and buy this wreath. She just shows up with this wreath. Like, where did you get it? The woods? She says the documentary is over, so she's gonna head home. And he's like, no, don't leave. There's a party tonight. First time hearing of it, and they go to this party and it's basically just local townspeople dancing in a community center. And the ex arrives in this beautiful dress. Well, basically everybody else is wearing jeans. And it's here where the meddling mom tells Alistair's dad, we don't know what she says, but she whispers to him like, something about our girl is wrong, because she knows she works at a perfumery. We don't really know what she tells him, but she says like, so and so, our girl is not who you think she is. The father is pissed, so he goes over to our girl and he basically tells her in so many words that she is leaving, and says something like, it's such a shame that you won't be here for Alistair and his ex's ball. Like, it's their ball together, like they're now dating. And he says something else like, oh, maybe you can come back and you can film their wedding. Like, what a bitch. We cut to our girl carrying all of her luggage out of the castle, and Alistair is sad. Sad boy. In the taxi on the way to the airport, they get a flat tire, so she gets out and she calls Alistair, and while she's on the phone to him, can you guess what happens? No, of course you can't. A reindeer steals her purse. Yes. But because her passport is in her purse, she can't go home, so Alistair comes and picks her up, and he drives to the city, Edinburgh, not really relevant, but whatever, to the US Embassy to help her get a new passport. And by the time I get there, it's shut. And because it is too far to drive back that night, we get a Edinburgh Christmas market montage, which is really clever because this already exists. So they don't have to pay to like set all this stuff up. They can just film in it and call it a day. Saves a bit of money. Not enough to buy a boon operator, mind you. The next morning he leaves her at the embassy and they almost kiss. It's very weird. She pulls away. And basically says like, oh, we're from two different worlds, we can't be together, and he just looks very sad. We skip the part of her getting a passport, I guess same day, and we see her next at the airport. She's waiting for her flight to go back to the US, and she's writing a resignation letter to the scary boss with the creepy eyes. Basically saying like, sorry I couldn't get the formula, I resign. Have a nice life. But as she sends this, she gets a call from that friend again from New York City and was like, guess what? The boss is pissed that you don't have the formula, and she is on her way to Scotland. In fact, she's probably almost at the castle. So our girl skips the flight and heads off to the castle. I guess to explain to Alistair what's going on, but it's kind of pointless, to be honest. The rest of this film is kind of pointless. Spoiler alert. Back at the castle, we get a little scene with Alistair and the ex is like, I was so wrong to break up with you. I'm so sorry. Let's get back together. And Alistair's like, oh, I don't know. But he kind of gives in. And so they're like, maybe kind of dating again. And while the mom is eavesdropping outside the room, we get a little quip from my favorite character, the maid.
So the ball?
Yes, I can't wait for the ball. It's going to be the best one yet.
The key to good eavesdropping is not getting caught.
Lady McLaren.
Love that bitch. It's finally the ball, and our girl arrives back at the castle, and she sees our favorite character, the maid, and they are so dramatic. Like, I don't know what's going on. Someone had a bit too much caffeine, do you know what I mean? But for some reason, our girl can't just go into the ball to speak to Alistair, or like the maid can't go into the ball to bring him out to speak to our girl. Of course not, it's Hallmark.
Tabby!
You're back.
Is Alistair in there? I have to talk to him.
His Grace is at the ball. It's already starting, dear, with Lady MacLeod and her daughter.
Well, I have to go in there.
More than you know you do. But you can't go in there looking like that. Look at you.
So for some reason, the maid has this beautiful big blue ball gown that I guess is just perfectly fitted for our girl.
It's wonderful.
Literally insane behavior. And gasp, she enters the ball.
What is she doing here?
I don't know. I'm about to find out.
To be honest, the dress is not great. It fits really weird at the top. Maybe that's just me. But before she can tell him why she's come back and she wants to explain herself, before she can say anything, he says, wait, I want a dance first. Like, okay, sure. We get an extended scene of them dancing. Like, Oh my god, this montage goes on for literally ever. Tell me you need to pad this movie without telling me you need to pad this movie. Finally, she interrupts the dance. So the dance doesn't even end naturally when she tells him. She has to interrupt his dancing to explain what's going on and that her boss is like on her way. And surprise, enter the boss with the crazy hair. Now a lot happens all at once, so bear with me. It's a very complex plot. So Alistair says to the boss that he might consider a 3-year deal to sell Heart of the Highlands in her shops. And she says,
4 years? Wow, what are you talking about? That is not what we agreed.
No, but it is what we agreed.
and mild shock, it's the actual Scottish brother who went behind everybody's back and contacted this perfumery lady, the lady with the crazy hair, and he was going to sell Heart of the Highlands to her. And we find out that he actually isn't going to sell it to her because he found someone who's going to pay more. So she's pissed. She came all this way. And he's actually not going to sell it to her. The only thing I could think of is like, does he have the rights? Because surely this is a joint business venture. Like, you got to get a majority vote before you do something like that, surely. But not in the Hallmark cinematic universe. Now the father butts in and gives this like random ass speech. Like, nobody asked for this. He just starts giving a speech basically like congratulating Alistair and the ex like being together. And of course our girl is there and hears that and she's very sad, so she runs out. And Alistair follows her out, but he's not fast enough. He's got them short legs. He's got them short king legs. She is already in the car and driving away. Yes, she's driving away in the ball gown. Girlie, you gotta pay for it. Alistair goes back in the ball and he's pissed and he basically says like, I'm renouncing my earlship. So he gives all of his shares to his lying brother and he's not gonna be an earl anymore. Like, yeah, that'll show him. Stupid idiot. And I wish this movie was over, but not yet. Buckle up, all right? We're in the final stretch. We've got a couple more miscommunications to pad out the running time, but we are almost there. Back at the B&B, before the girl flies home, she's going through some of the footage that she filmed on that big camera, and she finds that when she left the piss shack to speak to her friend, the brother, the Scottish brother, she was filming for some reason, like the camera was, the Scottish brother was on the phone with the perfumery, and he's the one that takes her notes. So what does she do? Telephones don't exist, I guess, in Scotland. They haven't figured that out yet. She drives back to the castle to speak with Alistair. The father finds her there and he apologizes in such a dragged out scene. Like, this, I just can't. But in this extended apology for him being a bastard, he explains that Alistair is not there. I guess they just don't know where he is. He's just disappeared. So she flies back to New York City. I guess rather than look for Alistair, she has his phone number. She does not call him. She's just like, well, I'll just go home then. So she goes home to New York City. She arrives at her parents' house and surprise, Alistair is there. Like a total psychopath. So she explains that the Scottish brother stole her notes. Now the notes were not the formula of Heart of the Highlands, which is what the brother thought. And that is the formula that the brother sold. But it's not that formula, it's the formula of the fragrance that she created by stealing the oils. So essentially, the real Heart of the Highlands formula is still, like, secret. It's still saved. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter. So instead of kissing in front of her parents, even though we do know one of them is blind, they go outside, they have this really cringy talk. I am so sorry, the chemistry in this just, I just can't.
So you knew all along?
You did seem more comfortable making perfumes than films.
Yeah. So why didn't you say anything?
Because I didn't want you to leave. Because I was falling in love with you. But now it's too late. Now I am completely and utterly in love with you.
So they're outside and they finally kiss, thank God, while a machine like spits out chunks of styrofoam on them that's supposed to be snow. And finally it's over. Thank God. Now for Hallmark movies, I have 3 rating criterias: chemistry, plot, and overall enjoyment. So for chemistry, I'm giving this a 1 out of 5. Rough. For plot, I'm kind of thinking 4 out of 5 because like it kind of makes sense, but it's also absurd. which I kind of love. And this is the only Hallmark movie that I've watched so far that has to deal with perfume. So that's gotta be something, right? It's gotta be worth something. And for overall enjoyment, I'm gonna say 3 out of 5. It's okay. It's a little bit interesting because it's a bit different, but it is so padded out. And by like 3/4, I'm like, I'm ready for death. But because the production quality is so bad, it's genuinely very funny to watch. But only if you kind of hate yourself, which I do. If you'd like to watch something else, how about this one? I reviewed Hot Frosty, a sexy snowman comes to life. Merry Christmas. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye!